On June 30th, 2024, we launched from the Belle Chase Marine Transportation Dock to cross the Mississippi and visit 6 ships that were in the lower 9-mile point Anchorage. You can see the purple box for the 9-mile point Anchorage, and now you can see the name of the 6 ships that we're going to visit. The Texian is a tug that passed through the area. We'll visit it as well. The first ship is the Magna Sun. She's Singapore registered. She's a freight ship, 609 feet long, 105 feet wide, and she displaces 67,000 tons. The second ship is also Singapore flagged. She is a Pak Shula. She is a freight ship, 590 feet long, 89 feet wide, and she has a deadweight displacement of 27,244 metric tons. The third ship is the Pacific Onyx. She is a tanker, a Liberian tanker, 598 feet long, 105 feet wide. She displaces 60,000 metric tons of water. The fourth ship is the Anchorage Queen. The Anchorage Queen is Panama flag. She's a freight ship, 572 feet long, 101 foot wide. She displaces 26,000 tons. She's actually 26,000 tons, gross tons. So it's not really her displacement, that's just her measured tonnage. The fifth ship is the Golden Isle. She's a Marshall Island ship. She is a freight ship, 590 feet long and 105 feet wide. She has a deadweight displacement of 48,000 metric tons. And the last ship down there is called the Sea Eagle, and I could not find any information on that. Let's take a look at her as we go by her and see if we can figure out what she is. Most of these ships are registered with the Port State Information Exchange, and they come up on the computer under the Coast Guard database. But this one did not. And there are actually a lot of Sea Eagles that are cargo ships currently operating in Europe. But this one is operating here in the Mississippi, and she is a cargo ship. Let's see if we see a flag on her. The Sea Eagle. We see anything? We see a heliport. We see some cranes on her. See a nice big house for the guys to live in. We'll turn around and we'll see. Nope, we didn't catch the stern. So I can't tell you very much about the Sea Eagle, but you can see the Texian out there in the middle of the river. She is pushing a barge ahead. The Texian is United States flag. She's a towing vessel. She's 78 feet long, 34 foot wide, and she has simple gross tonnage of 177 tons. 30,000 tons versus 77 tons. Big difference, right? Okay. So here we go by the Panama ship again. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, that was a Marshall Island ship we just passed. The Panama ship is coming up next. And instead of doing that, we're going to go over and take a look at the Texian. So there's the Texian pushing a barge up the river. "47 feet long, 17 feet wide." And it looks like she is pushing a tank barge. Tank barge may have fuel, may have chemicals in it, going upriver. And now we're back over on the ships. We're looking at ships 3, 2, and 1. Ship 3 is Liberian flag and is a tanker. We're headed that way now. We'll take a better look at her. we'll get in a little bit closer and see a little bit more about her. There it is, the Pacific Onyx, Liberian flag. She is 598 feet long and 105 feet wide. She's 5 times wider than that tug was long. Just to put things into perspective. Pretty incredible. And then there's ship number 2. Ship number 2 is right here. That's one of the Singapore freighters. She is the Pak Shawala, 590 feet long and 89 feet wide. These are all waiting in an Anchorage to go to a dock upriver. This lower 9 Mile Point Anchorage conveniently fits 6 ships. You can see the Pak Shawala on the stern, and the fact that she's Singapore flagged, Singapore registered. A nice size house for the guys to live in. That orange thing obviously is an emergency lifeboat. If the boat starts to sink or has a problem, everyone can get in that little orange boat and launch and survive for who knows how many days. They have some food and water on there. It's a typical lifeboat for these types of freighters now. Hatches are halfway opened, and the cranes are in place, ready to go to work. And then there's ship number 1. Ship number 1 is also Singapore flagged, the Magna Sun, freight ship, 609 feet long, 106 feet wide, 67,000 ton displacement. Same configuration with the cranes and the opening hatches on the main deck. Large house for the guys to live in. The square thing on the back is the exhaust for the engines. A very clean deck. You know, you'd kind of expect that of Singapore, right? And Singapore is such a clean country. You would kind of expect their ships to be clean also. Beautiful ship sitting there in the Mississippi waiting for dock space to offload or onload. Not sure which. Makes me miss being a captain on the seas. And here's the Texian pushing her tank barge up the river. And just a fun day out on the river, checking out the river traffic. The bridge is all the way on top. You can see it's actually suspended up a little bit, and then there's a stairway up to it. And then the next level down is where the officers would sleep, and then below that is where the crew would sleep, and then the engines are below that. Don't have the horsepower on it. It'd be interesting to see how many horsepower it has. That's not given in the database. Okay, so now we're flying back to the dock. There's the dock, that red dot over there on the right-hand side, and the Anchorage is over there on the left-hand side of the river. And we were out on that brown strip. That's where we launched from. You can see there's a crane there, and looks like a fuel barge with a tug pushing it. Now, the fuel barge, the tug did not have its AIS on, so I don't know what it is. But the little crew boat up there underneath the crane, that's the Lance C. She's U.S. registered. She's 47 feet long and 17 feet wide. So she has 45 gross tons. So at 17 feet, you could put 5 of her lengthwise in the breadth of one of those big tanker ships. It's amazing the scale of these different ships, from small, which this is a small boat, this is a crew boat, get people around and bring supplies out to the ships, to the big ships. So really appreciate Belle Chase Marine Transportation letting us use their dock to launch from. Everyone there was really nice, and I can recommend them highly. They were great. That's us in the car right there, bringing the drone back in for a landing. It was a long 4 days, but fun 4 days. We got a lot done. And of course, there's Callie. Callie, my golden retriever, sitting on the back. And that's Frank.